All right, here we go.
Well, here it is, May 2022, and Gordon-Conwell has some big news coming up in the horizon. We thought it'd be good for two alums to sit down and talk about it. I was talking to the bishop about this, and I said, I can't think of a seminary or college that is led by a chairman of the board of trustees and a president who are both alums.
Yeah,
So we care about the place.
absolutely.
But we had different experiences as students, didn't we?
Yeah. I was a D-Min student under Haddon Robinson, and that met here in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was an MDiv student up at Hamilton campus, and I went there to study with Christy Wilson about mission, and also Lovelace to talk about church history and revival and renewal. Had a great experience, then went overseas as a missionary. And now I'm back as president of the seminary, and a lot of changes have taken place in society as well as in the church in New England. And so we're at a point where we need to make some tough decisions, and we found out that the tough decisions are actually really good decisions for the future of the school. You want to talk about some of those?
Yeah, sure. Well, Gordon-Conwell is facing what every institution in higher ed and even in the church is facing, and that is how to orient itself to a future whose challenges both during COVID and after COVID cause it to reevaluate not its mission, but its modality. The history of the church is one where mission is permanent, modality is transient. So you go from the upper room to house, and from Jerusalem to Antioch and to Ephesus and to Rome. Modalities change, but the mission remains the same. And as the church has had to revisit it, and its success has been in its flexibility, so is it the case with Gordon-Conwell?
As a matter of fact, that's Gordon-Conwell's history. The way that I describe it is we're talking about a fourth beginning. Our modalities and positions and places have changed. We started out in the basement of the largest sanctuary in North America that was held in Philadelphia, Temple Baptist Church. Russell Conwell from Massachusetts began teaching because he was concerned about people who couldn't afford theological education, so he started a little seminary in the basement of his church. And that had to move, and it became a college. It became Temple, and then it moved out of there, and it became its own separate seminary. So it's moving, adapting to the times is the way that I look at it. And then A.J. Gordon, concerned about immigrants in the Boston area, began to train people to be missionaries in China and in Africa. He noticed people from different countries coming into Boston, led them to faith in Christ, and taught them in his church at Clarendon Street. And that became a little bit too small, so they moved to the Fenway, they moved out to Newton. So they adapted their place and their teaching method according to what was going on in society at the time. Yeah. And then there was the third beginning. Mm-hmm. You want to describe the third beginning?
Well, that third beginning was under Harold Archengay. And when Gordon-Conwell came together and looked at this notion of being a place on a hill, a wonderful pastoral setting, bringing these two institutions of storied legacy together, and moving up from Gordon College, and having served people for so very well. My first visit to South Hamilton was on a tour. Wesley Roberts, I was preaching for him in Boston, and he took me up to South Hamilton. And wow, was I impressed by the campus. It is a beautiful setting and did much for its time. As a pastor, the Lord blessed us to grow from one campus to two campuses to three campuses, all of which have my sweat and blood and have much story. And yet now we've had to look at what is it for the future? And even should we continue with three campuses? And we had to make the decision, led by the Lord, that we would be selling one of the campuses.
You know, and to build on that, when you make those tough decisions, I think of Richard Lovelace in Philadelphia, new man on the faculty in Philadelphia, committed to training leaders for the city. And he's only there a brief period of time, and he finds out that under the leadership of Billy Graham and Pugh and Ockenga, they're going to combine with another school. And if I were on the faculty there at that time, I think I would have thought, we lost our campus. It's gone. And nobody dreamed that by moving together and uniting, it would become Gordon-Conwell with this global impact that it has today. And so making those decisions at the time, looking at the future, it expanded the reach in the ministry, and it became a Gordon-Conwell with the great reputation, 11,000 alumni around the world.